You think your personality is a fact. You assume that, because it feels consistent, it must be authentic. You believe you are defending your true self. That belief is the first trap. It rewards you for rehearsing the same choices and calling it integrity. It gives you comfort, then charges you in silence. The brain does not protect your truth. It protects your efficiency. It automates patterns to reduce metabolic cost. Kahneman called it the default to System 1. The basal ganglia turn repetitions into reflex. Self-verification theory explains why you defend the identity you already have, even when it hurts you. Confirmation bias keeps you loyal to the first story that made you feel coherent. Coherence is pleasant. It is not proof. History is blunt about this. People who survive upheaval do not cling to personal consistency. They adopt roles that work. Roman elites took new names and obligations through adoption to secure power. Monks replaced family identity with vows to stabilize purpose. Soldiers in real wars shifted from civilian thinking to combat thinking, and shifted back if they wanted to function. They did not call this betrayal. They called it necessary. Your old identity loop is a closed circuit of ideas, feelings, and micro-behaviors that preserve a previous equilibrium. You repeat it because it once solved the problem. It kept you safe in a specific environment. Safety became familiar. Familiarity started to feel like truth. You confused previous necessity with permanent definition. There are 5 signs you are trapped in this loop. If any of these feel like an attack, that is not an accident. Defensiveness protects the system. It signals where the attachment is. 1. You defend preferences more than outcomes. You argue for your style, your taste, your process, as if the method was sacred. You say that a tactic is not you. You dismiss something that works because it threatens the image you want to keep. Self-verification beats self-improvement. William James wrote that habits carve paths that attention later mistakes for will. That is what you are doing. You protect an old path while claiming you value results. There are only 2 identities in this space. The one that serves the aim and the one that serves the image. The builder who measures by consequence. The believer who measures by comfort. If you feel friction when a strategy contradicts your old story, you are seeing the loop. It does not care what actually works. It cares what keeps your reflection clean. 2. You seek recognition from the people who met your past. You need them to certify your change. You go back to old rooms to announce your update. You explain, justify, over-communicate. Then you meet the same response. They react to your history, not your present. That is not personal. It is social identity in motion. Cooley's looking-glass self says you build your sense of self by reading others. Goffman said we perform roles that are reinforced by the audience. Their memory of you pulls you back to a previous version. Identity protective cognition locks it in. You feel misunderstood, so you repeat the explanation. Repetition makes the old frame heavier. There are 2 moves here. You either accept that some witnesses will never recognize your new baseline, or you keep auditioning for approval they cannot give. If you are still doing the second, the loop is winning. You are not changing. You are campaigning. 3. Your emotions arrive before the facts and dictate the rest. The feeling comes first, the story follows. You experience an old anger, an old fear, an old shame, triggered by a cue that would not require that intensity now. The amygdala sends a fast, crude signal. The cortex builds a narrative to match it. Lisa Feldman Barrett's work on constructed emotion shows how the brain predicts your state based on past associations. You are not feeling the event. You are feeling the rehearsal. The prediction error that could update the pattern gets suppressed because prediction feels safer than revision. You later rationalize it as, that is just who I am. It is not. It is what your nervous system learned to expect. There are 2 types of people when the surge hits. Those who accept the first feeling as a command. Those who treat it as data and request more information. If you keep acting on the first wave, your identity uses you. It is not a trait. It is a loop. 4. You mistake consistency for integrity. You think you must be loyal to past statements to be honorable. That is a confusion that people hold when they fear judgment. Seneca wrote that wise people change their minds when truth changes their view. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that if someone shows him a better way, he would take it. Integrity means alignment with your highest aim and your current evidence. It does not mean defending an earlier version of yourself to avoid embarrassment. Sunk cost applies to identity, not just to money. You invested years into being the reliable one, or the creative one, or the outsider. You keep paying even when it no longer serves the mission. Nietzsche warned that becoming who you are requires abandoning who you were. That is not poetic, it is mechanical. A role that solved yesterday's problem can block today's solution. There are two outcomes. You protect continuity and lose the game. Or you protect the standard and let continuity die. If that sounds harsh, it is because you still think you owe your past a debt. You do not. You owe your future a result. 5. You avoid decisive environments. You choose contexts where there is no immediate score and no hard feedback. You prefer conversations, not consequences. This looks polite. It is actually defensive. In a decisive arena, your identity gets audited by reality. You cannot hide behind narratives. You either make the number, ship the output, win the point, or you do not. People stuck in an old identity loop subconsciously pick spaces that will not force them to update. They want delay, ambiguity, process without a clear finish line. They speak in potential and taste. They talk about what could be, not what is. The nervous system prefers this because short-term stress stays low. Allostatic load remains pleasant until the bill arrives. Then panic. There are only two groups here. Those who put themselves where their story cannot protect them. Those who avoid the test and learn to speak in circles. If you are avoiding the test, you have chosen preservation over progress. You may already be arguing with me in your head. Good. That is the loop trying to maintain its shape. The discomfort you feel is not a sign that this is wrong. It is a sign that your predictive model did not get the confirmation it expected. Prediction error is the entry point. When it spikes, you have a small window where memory reconsolidation can rewrite the association. Eric Kandel won a Nobel for work, showing how experience changes synaptic strength. When a memory is brought to mind, it becomes labeled for a short period. It can be updated, or it can be filed exactly as it was. That is where instant lives. It is not magic. It is a choice made at the right time, with enough clarity and consequence to overpower the old wiring. Breaking the loop instantly does not mean overnight transformation. It means you stop giving the old pattern authority. You withdraw consent. You identify the standard that actually matters to you, and you treat it as the only definition that counts. You make a private ruling. If it advances the aim, it is me. If it does not, it is not me. That sentence ends the debate. It makes the identity serve the mission. That is Stoic. It is also practical neuroscience. When you repeat this filter with action and feedback, you create a new default. Neurons that fire together, wire together. Hebbian learning is simple and ruthless. The objection is predictable. You will say that this is cold, that it reduces selfhood to utility. Consider the alternative. You can keep worshiping a feeling of authenticity that costs you your life. You can keep telling yourself that you are not that kind of person, then wonder why the same outcomes follow you. Machiavelli wrote that the prince must learn not to be good when goodness destroys the state. Translate that. When the self-image destroys the aim, it is not virtue. It is vanity. Another objection. People will reject me if I change too fast. They already reject you. They reject the possibility that you can be other than what they remember. You are trying to negotiate with a photograph. Stop. Seneca again. You need a few living models, not a senate of bystanders. The rest are noise. The mind collects social debt that does not exist. That debt keeps you stuck. You might also think your emotions will not allow this. You believe they are accurate readings of reality. They are often accurate readings of prediction. Your nervous system cares about speed. Accuracy is secondary. You can respect the signal without treating it as law. William James said that we do not run because we are afraid. We are afraid because we run. Behavior influences feeling. Choose behavior that matches your aim. Emotions catch up. Do not wait for them to grant permission. Some of you think you need more time. Time will not help you if you fill it with the same loop. More hours only add more evidence for the old identity. You do not need time. You need a threshold. The instant happens when the cost of staying the same becomes intolerable. You can accelerate that by measuring consequence accurately. Stop giving your comfort a fake exchange rate. If you told the truth about the cost of your current pattern, you would end it tonight. There is a reason most people never do this. Identity is a social contract. When you rewrite it, you disturb the agreements around you. Families, teams, partners, and old peers prefer your predictability. It keeps their own model of the world stable. Change threatens that. So you will face resistance disguised as concern. You will hear that you are becoming arrogant, extreme, selfish. Sometimes you will be. That is the risk. You calibrate as you go. But do not accept guilt from people who benefit from your inertia. There is also a reason a small minority becomes impossible to stop. They see identity as a tool, not a temple. They select roles for function. The Romans had a word for the role used in public life. Persona. A mask, but not in the cheap sense. A channel. The Stoics took it further. Epictetus said to play your assigned role well. He did not say you were the role. He said you were responsible for how you played it. You can choose roles that serve your goal, then drop them when they stop serving. That is not fake. It is disciplined. You will ask what this looks like. It looks like you enforcing a simple rule when your old pattern tries to speak. Does this behavior serve the outcome I have selected? If yes, proceed. If not, stop. No debate. The more you debate, the more the loop uses your words as rope. You have argued with yourself for years. You lost that argument because you tried to persuade a pattern. Patterns do not listen. They dissolve when starved. You might think you need a new set of traits to do this. You do not. You need standards. Traits emerge from standards acted on repeatedly under feedback. Confidence follows competence. Peace follows control of attention. Discipline follows a schedule enforced by consequence. Do not wait to feel like the kind of person who does it. Decide what gets done. Then do enough of it that the nervous system updates the prediction. That is the real instant. The first unambiguous act that contradicts the old story. After that, each repetition is easier. Be prepared for the quiet phase. When you break a loop, the system creates noise. Sleep may change. Appetite may shift. Old contacts will test you. Your mind will throw samples of the past across your path, hoping you will take the bait. Recognize this without dramatizing it. The brain resists new models because they are more expensive to run. Keep running them. Efficiency follows. You need to know what you are giving up. You are giving up the comfort of being easily described. You are giving up the alibi you used when you did not want to be judged. You are giving up the luxury of delay. You are choosing to be measured by outcomes that can fail. You are choosing to lose friends who loved your script. You are choosing to be responsible for the weight of your standards. If that does not appeal to you, keep your loop. It will feel warm until it starts to cost you opportunities you cannot get back. Here is the blunt truth that will still be here after the comments die. You are not oneself. You are a set of learned predictions that can be edited. You are not your taste. You are not your first feeling. You are not your last opinion. You are whatever you consistently reinforce under pressure. That is not a threat. It is freedom. If you see it. Most people will not see it. They will hear this and return to their routine. They will call it balance. They will call it nuance. What they mean is tolerance for stagnation. They will search for content that flatters their narrative. They will keep watching without changing. They will call that research. They will feel clever for a week. Then they will feel nothing. A few of you are different. You are already tired of your story. You are done buying your own excuses. You are willing to use your mind against your comfort. You can detach from praise and shame long enough to measure reality. You can choose a standard ruthless enough to cut a path. If that is you, then you have already felt the click. It happens when you stop asking who you are and start asking what is required. You do not need more time. You need to withdraw consent from the loop and replace it with a rule that serves the aim. If the result matters, it is me. If it does not, it is not me. That is the break. Protect it. Apply it until it becomes automatic. Let people call it extreme. They are protecting their own loops. Let your nervous system complain. It will adjust. Let the past argue. It has no jurisdiction. If you recognized yourself in the 5 signs, and you felt the urge to defend them, you are exactly who this was for. Most will not make the cut. They will need softness. They will want rituals and trends to disguise delay. You are not them. Stay with people who prefer standards over slogans. Pay attention here. The next pieces will be sharper and less forgiving. They will assume you can handle them. If you cannot, that will become obvious. You already know what happens if you ignore this. You already live it. You wake up as yesterday. You negotiate with yourself. You explain instead of act. You protect a pattern. Then you call it fate. Stop. You can pull the plug on the old identity today. Not with a speech. With a choice that does not ask for permission from who you used to be. This is not for everyone. It is for the selective minority who would rather be effective than admired, and who understand that authenticity is not a feeling, but a track record. If that sentence fits you, then act like it. The door is open, exactly as long as your attention is honest. After that, you are back in the loop.